I'm not a human being. I walk in eternity. Hello and welcome back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about the Pyramids of Mars. The writing credits belong to a Stephen Harris, however, that person doesn't actually exist. It's written by Robert Holmes, who rewrote the script after the original writer, Lewis Graffifer, couldn't complete some rewrites that he was scheduled to do. And apparently Robert Holmes completely changed almost everything with the exception of the name and the very basic elements. And it is directed by Paddy Russell. This is a 4-part adventure, and it is considered by Doctor Who fans to be one of the best stories in the show history. Massive Doctor Who YouTuber Mr. TARDIS Reviews put the story as number 3 in his top 10 Doctor Who stories of all time. So that should tell you how much beloved this story is. And yeah, it totally deserves it. It's just a flawless piece of television. So what happens? The Doctor and Sarah land in the 1910s or 20s, I'm not quite sure, but they land before UNIT was a thing. They land where the base would have been, however, it is before a fire that burnt out the old house, that which the UNIT base is based off. So they actually landed in the house before the UNIT base was there. And in it they discover that this house left to Professor Scarman. He went to Egypt and his house has been looked after by an Egyptian man who I can't remember the name of. However, he acts really odd as he doesn't let anybody into the house apart from the butler, and lots of rooms that got to be locked and not to be disturbed, carrying Egyptian artifacts. Now Scarman is in Egypt. I can't remember where specifically in Egypt he was. They do say. And in it he gets possessed by the mighty Sutek, the Egyptian god of death, played fan-bloody-tastically by Gabriel Wolfe. And his voice is such an immense presence that when Russell T Davies was casting a voice for the Beast, aka the Devil, they brought back Gabriel Wolfe, which is a brilliant connection, as in this story the Doctor even refers to Satan as one of Sutek's other names. So that's pretty cool. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So the Doctor and Sarah, they're investigating this building because the TARDIS has landed there. And they get the impression that something is odd happening in the house, as one of Professor Scarman's old friends busts into the house and feels like something mysterious is going on. And Scarman's butler catches the Doctor, believing he works for Scarman's friend, and so lets him off the hook and tells him to go the way they came and go outside the building. Now the Doctor, before landing, he actually had a crash in the TARDIS. Sarah Jane, now wearing a costume, one of Victoria's costume, a companion from the second Doctor era. And when there was a crash, Sarah Jane saw a massive face appearing in the TARDIS. And as the Doctor explains, the power to generate that mental projection is unheard of, unless it's with extreme amount of power to get inside the TARDIS. So already the threats are high. We've got the god of death that's infiltrated the TARDIS, and just everything has just, yeah. So while Scarman's butler goes in to investigate to help the Doctor out, one of the sarcophaguses open up and a mummy gets killed, and they go to investigate, but the Egyptian believes it is Sutek's will. However, Scarman's friend believes that somebody had just come in, shot him, and maybe burgled the place. However, the Egyptian, he couldn't have anybody investigating, so he shoots the friend, Scarman's friend, but the doctor and Sarah quickly save him just after he's shot, and they go through the forest, and Sarah gets a glimpse of a mummy, a walking, talking mummy. Well, not talking, but it's a big, junky mummy with wraps and everything. Really cool design. I would have loved to see a return of Sutek and his robot mummies. Oh, spoiler, by the way, they're robots. So the Doctor and Sarah and this friend character, they go to Scarman's brother. I can't remember his name. I think his name was Lawrence. Yeah, I think his name was Lawrence, and he basically helps the Doctor and stuff, but he doesn't believe that his brother could be caught up in all this evil. So the Doctor goes in to investigate with Sarah Jane and the professor's, Scarman's brother Lawrence, slowly following him, the Doctor. And whilst the Doctor is at the building, the Egyptian summons Sutek, and in this really cool scene in which a being with a similar face to the mummies comes out of like a sarcophagus, and every time he steps there's steam, kind of implying that his feet are so hot that they burn the floor underneath him. And he looks down at the Egyptian and is like, "Look at me. Do I look like Sutek?" And he's like, "Please help me. I am a servant of Sutek. I am a servant of Sutek. He needs no other." And just puts his hands gently on his shoulders, to which he starts screaming in agony and collapses dead, which is our cliffhanger. Fantastic cliffhanger, setting up the stakes. This is not even Sutek. This is just one of his henchmen, and he can already kill people just by his touch. So, yeah, great cliffhanger. This creature then transforms into Professor Scarman, taking on his physical form. This is not a complaint per se, but a little nitpick I have with this story is that it's clear that this being is a robot. It has the robot face. It's a robot working for Sutek. However, Professor Scarman, he takes the form of Professor Scarman, and then all the rest of the story then, they act like that he is Scarman, just sort of possessed or being reanimated from the dead. So that's really confusing. Professor Scarman was killed in Egypt, if you wanted to know. But yeah, it's a bit confusing on that part, but it's a very small nitpick. You don't really think about it when you're watching it. Even on your 100th watch, I've watched this story so many times. This is one of my most cherished Doctor Who stories growing up as a kid. I used to watch it a lot on VHS, and now I watch it a lot on DVD. Go figure. And yeah, the great thing about this story, about Robert Holmes' writing in this particular adventure, is that he knows how to build up tension. A great example is that Sarah Jane, the Doctor, and Lawrence Scarman, they go into the TARDIS with a really funny little moment in which Scarman says that this is a lot like a scene from a H.G. Wells novel. And Sarah Jane is like, we know he didn't destroy the world back in this times, because she's alive during a particular time which we will get to. And the Doctor's like, we can't let Sutekh just get away because he will destroy the future. And Sarah's like, he can't have, because I'm alive and I'm from the future, so yeah, let's just go to the future. So the Doctor goes to Sarah's time, opens the doors, or at least he claims. A lot of fan theories suggest that he tricked Sarah Jane and he just took her to an abandoned planet that was destroyed by Sutekh many years ago. But the dialogue heavily implies that he's not lying, and it is the future of Earth. Which Sarah opens up the doors and just sees a wasteland covered with blizzards and storms and thunder and lightning. And the Doctor explains that that is how the world would have been left if Sutekh was free. So Sarah Jane is like, we got to go back. However, this brings up an important little detail about this story, which makes things a lot more confusing for the unit dating controversy, as Sarah Jane distinctly says multiple times that she is from the year 1980, which was 5 years after this story aired. So that's really confusing. The timeline just does not add up, and so a lot of people's guess is that she was just rounding up, or I don't know, just the unit dating controversy just sucks balls. But anyway, so a lot of things goes on as the mummies start putting a shield barrier around the house, locking the Doctor and everybody in, and they start building a rocket, and the Doctor, after capturing a robot, disguises himself as one and puts a bomb on it, to which Sarah Jane, with a rifle, shoots it. One shot gets it and it explodes, but then it just reverts back, as Sutekh uses mental projection to hold it. But the Doctor then goes in to distract Sutekh as he takes the portal that takes shape of a sarcophagus. I can't pronounce it, I do apologise. And goes in to actually meet Sutekh. And this is probably one of the most famous scenes in classic Doctor Who, as Sutekh basically makes the Doctor his bitch without even getting the Doctor. Sutekh, he's explained, he is imprisoned there by the rest of the Asirans, who with the Sutekh species, and they put Sutekh in the pyramid in Egypt and locked him there, and basically took most, if not all, of his power. But yet he has this ability where he can make people torture just by looking at them. And this scene is probably just terrifying. Watching the Doctor conquer so much evil, and throughout test and test, just constantly beating villains. And here he is completely powerless. Sutekh commands him to kneel. His Doctor says no. He says kneel again, and the Doctor kneels. And Tom Baker's acting with the pain is so fantastic, and Gabriel Wolf's voice and that dialogue by Robert Holmes just is perfect. Your evil is my good. I am Sutekh the Destroyer. Where I tread, I leave nothing but dust and darkness. I find that good. Yeah, we're talking about like that kind of dialogue. Really works really well. But back to the plot. So he distracted Sutek, which blew up the missile. However, Sutek takes control of the Doctor's mind, making him a mind slave, and makes him take some mummies and Scarman with Sarah Jane to the Pyramid of Mars, which is the source of the power that's keeping Sutek there. So they go into the pyramid and they got to do some trials. Now, there's these bits where they do small little tasks. And Sarah Jane mentions that it reminds her a lot of Exelon. However, she wasn't in those scenes in which the Doctor does those puzzles. So that doesn't make any sense. However, so they do these little tests, and some of them range to just being a bit silly and a bit dull. My least favourite one is they got to do these patterns on two sides of the walls, but one of them is different from the other. So it's basically spots a difference. I thought that was a bit weak. However, there is a good one where there's a scene that reminds me a lot of Labyrinth, although this came first, in which the Doctor can ask one question between two guarded mummies of the tomb. One of them tells the truth and one of them tells a lie. And there's these buttons, and the Doctor can only ask one question, and the way he solves it as well reminds me a lot of Labyrinth. Yeah, so yeah. Just a fantastic story, and Starman then breaks the seal, stopping Sutek. However, the Doctor realises a time factor, so that Sarah and the Doctor run. The Doctor now being free at this point, I forgot to mention, runs into the TARDIS and tries to capture Sutek whilst he's teleporting himself to Professor Scarman's house. And he gets him caught up in a time vortex and keeps pushing him into an infinity of a future, basically killing Sutek, ending his regime for thousands of years. And the Doctor explains that there was a bit of time before it was destroyed on Mars to when it was on Earth that the seal was still kept. So the Doctor had 20 seconds to get back to Earth and sort out the little plan to stop Sutek. But this portal thing then catches on fire, explaining that this is the fire that destroyed the building, making way for Unit HQ. And the Doctor basically explains that he doesn't want to be caught, be accused of starting a fire, like he has done, as he's been accused before in 1666, which is really funny because the Doctor did technically have a part of it. It was just the fifth Doctor, not the fourth. So, yeah, that's really funny. The Doctor was accused of a fire. He did commit, he just didn't commit yet. That's pretty funny. But yeah, so that's the Pyramid of Mars. It is a 10 out of 10. Easily a fantastic piece of television. Gabriel Wolfe, Robert Holmes, Patty Russell, Tom Baker, Elizabeth Sladen. Do I need to list more stuff about why this story is so memorable? I don't. You should just go watch it. Pyramid of Mars. There you go. So join me next time where we have robot duplicates, rhino people, and this weird thing about somebody's losing an eye. So join me next time for the Android Invasion. See you then on the Doctor Who Marathon. Ta-da.